What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and this is a special edition because you guys get to ask us anything. And the us that I'm speaking to, referring to, is one triple champion, the uh, Renegade Dojo's own, Ayesha Raymond, BigFemVader. What's going on?
I'm good. This is the very first time I'm going to be a complete open book to everyone because I know that, you know, I am an air of mystery. You know absolutely nothing. So here is your chance to ask whatever you want to ask. And I am
Absolutely.
currently on location. This is why.
On location, absolutely. We've increased the budget here that we've graciously allowed Big Fem Vader to be on location and what
Paid
have you.
vacation.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're going with. And Graham Farrell says, "Hey guys, what's up, Graham? Good to see you. Hope your holidays are well." And my goodness, speaking of holidays, right? Like, I mean, is because I'm getting messages from my family in Fiji, and they're like, "Happy holidays" or "Merry Christmas" because they're still into that. I mean, I used to as a goof because there was a couple companies that I worked for that were like, "Oh, you don't want to offend people." There was just like the precursor to like cancel culture, and they're like, "Hey, you might not know that I celebrate Kwanzaa as somebody that is, maybe Jewish." Or what have you, or somebody that celebrates Hanukkah that might be Lenny Kravitz, right? So they would be like, you just say Happy
Just him.
Holidays, right? No, there's like other people, but Lenny Kravitz came to mind because why wouldn't
Lenny.
it? So let that dig in, right? Like, go ahead and have yourself a good time. But yeah, so then I would just be like, happy non-denominational holiday, and that was my intro. And then I heard like happy Festivus, and then I used to use that. And Michael Richards, he was all like at the Comedy Store. A couple of darker persuasion people, African gentlemen, were razzing him and whatever, and he just goes, "Cause y'all in the N words." So I stopped quoting Kramer.
Well, no, it's just weird to me. This time of year has always been kind of strange to me in sense of I've always had a multicultural community and backgrounds and group, and even my friends who of Muslim faith, of Hindu faith, of Sikh faith would celebrate Christmas. So it's just like I don't know if it's an English thing, whereas in America that just doesn't happen. I don't know. I've never had to separate or change my wording because somebody might get offended.
Um, that's we're offended until we aren't, right? I mean, here in the states, it's like, yeah, we're not offended, and then like if somebody
We're
speaks up,
offended. Change your ways. No,
change your ways, change your gender, change your ethos, change your I don't know policy on gun safety or lack thereof. We're just all willy nilly.
change your species. Change your eyebrows. Change your hair color.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I got a question for you. Do you
Okay.
have a favorite holiday memory?
I do. Like one of my most favorite holiday memories, even though like my sister wasn't able to travel with us at the time, so it was every part of the family apart from my sister, was when I got to spend Jamaica for the first time. Get to spend Jamaica, spend Christmas for the first time in Jamaica with my grandparents, and it was literally 6 months before the May Young Classic as well. So it was like I got to celebrate this with my family, give my family this big, massive, like almost news, and then I was in Jamaica. But the most weirdest thing about all of it is I was raised Christian. I am Christian, but I'm not as religiously what's the word devoted as my grandmother. She is Seventh Day Adventist, so the thing is to go to church on the Saturday and also like throughout the week and blah blah blah. And their services are really 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 long, so it was just a weird kind of culture shock thing to me. It didn't it was just weird. It was more. I think I was more happier along the lines of the fact that I was with my family rather than just Jamaica, everything. But yeah, it was good. And
Yes,
what
and
about you?
No, I'm still
See,
here. I
segued
just,
in. You did well.
yeah, I know, I know. I was quick.
I
I
literally
mean,
just finished.
yeah.
Good
No, no,
time,
no,
man.
no. That so I'm doing the solo layout because there's another
Oh.
project that I'm involved with that, or I'm gonna have to work the switcher and what have you. So yeah, that was kind of it.
By the
So
way, he didn't give me a heads up on that. I thought I was by myself.
no, no,
I
no.
was so scared.
We're gonna freak
He's
you
like,
out.
wait,
We're gonna freak
no.
out a big fan Vader. Yeah, during the holiday and
The professional's
happy
gone. Don't leave me here.
yes, and
Happy.
Nick Mac goes happy Easter, Easter, absolutely, and happy Easter to you. 4 5 months removed, right? 3 4, depending on
I think.
where you celebrate it and when. Um,
Or what book you read?
yeah, absolutely. So I mean, that's actually my favorite holiday. Where I mean, fuck, man. You got Easter bunnies. And I don't care what methodology that you come at it with, right? I don't care if it's like pagan holiday, blah blah blah, and they have their ethos behind that. They're talking about what is it like? I think it was like that one African civilization that were like, oh, it's the fertility, whatever, and that's why the eggs and the whatever. Or like those motherfucking Kentuckians that dress up in pastels during the like Kentucky Derby, and I don't even know if that's in Easter. I just associate the two, pastels
Is
and
that a thing?
Kentucky.
Are they called Kentuckians?
Well, I mean that's a whole Grizzly Smith fucking deal,
'Cause
and
in my head, I just got loads of fried chicken dancing around.
yes, yes, but
Entire
I mean,
town of fried
I,
chicken.
yeah, I mean, Grizzly Smith was one half of the Kentuckians, and that worked out so well for the rest of the family. Not, yeah. But yeah, so, and that bears probably no bearing on Kentucky. Probably nobody, makes love to their kin folk. That never happens there ever. But even still, yeah. So Easter is my favorite holiday. So thank you. I will take that, McMack. And different time zone. Yep. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And as I'm in a different time zone than Big Fem Vader, funny enough.
Yeah.
And then, Aisha, can I have my job back, please? That's
No,
Graham.
you're fired. You know what Graham did? Okay, let me tell you what Graham did. Let me start. So Graham disobeyed my orders. He was working for me at the show. He's currently fired because of him, I lost my match. Didn't like
Really?
it. Yeah,
Wow.
I blame the referee. I'll come
So,
back for Eye on the Sky soon, but I blame the ref. Ref has got
so,
to
so,
run his time.
so essentially, in this theory, that kind of story of the American Wolves, right, having their NXT tryout, and they were supposed to go home, and Davey Richards thought, "Oh, fuck it, no," and it was like, "I know what
I
to
want
do.
to
I'm a
stay.
yes, absolutely." So, in this scenario, would Graham Farrell be Davey Richards?
Uh, I would say more, hmm, more Little Nate in WCW. That's how
Okay,
sneaky he was.
okay.
He was asked to do a job. He didn't do his job, and now let's just say there will be consequences.
Ooh, ooh, damn! This is rough stuff. And yes, I lost my job by doing my job, which is
No, you
the
lost your job by not doing your job. That's what happened.
is that the new getting fired on your day off? Is it
Yes. Called in
motherfucking
sick. You're
Craig?
fired.
You're not Graham Farrell anymore, good sir. You are Craig Farrell. Taking a page from Friday. So there you go. Um, and it's funny because you were talking about a particular, it wasn't just the Mae Young Classic in Jamaica and what have you. There was a particular dish that kind of partake in, and I believe, there it is. So what are we seeing?
We are seeing lovely Jamaican fried fish, and I think that's. I actually don't know what that is on the side. I'm not quite sure, but that's fried fish. Like I am, I'm not a pescatarian. I'm not. I like meat. I'm sorry to all my vegan friends out there. Loves you, peace. But I like beef. But fish is my thing, and my nan is literally the most amazing cook in the world. And the one thing that she does for me every time I'm in Jamaica, actually, what she's done now, because I can smell it in the kitchen. Um, is fry fish, and that's just my. If I could live off of fish and seafood, I would. Obviously, Japan.
Yeah, which this probably doesn't serve well, but it probably serve. I mean now, but it maybe a couple minutes I should have thrown this in there. So there's not a great segue or whatever. But you were talking about you're not the the most religiously devoted, and I just went the fucking what's her face Olivia Newton-John, religiously devoted
Devoted
to
to you.
you.
I
Yeah,
tried.
which I
I do.
don't. I is and that the pescatarian because like isn't there like pescatarian, pastafarian? Aren't those things?
A pastafarian is a thing.
Oh, you don't know about the fucking flying spaghetti monster religion? Do they
Please
wear?
don't educate me. Can you do your little screen thingy? Show the world.
let's see. Let's see what the fuck I can conjure up on the internet. But
I didn't know that was a thing.
the Pastafarians, at least as what I believe it is people who believe in the flying spaghetti monster.
The
That
flying spaghetti monster.
yes, absolutely. So with the wonders of the internet and the request of one triple champion, BigFemVader, wait, that's not it. Not the vial, not the file. I want to
I know
share the screen.
who
I
leaves a
want to share the
pandemic
screen.
year with three
Yes,
belts? Me.
yes, there you go. But the Pastafarians are these folk. And you can't see it, but let me pull up a bigger picture. This is their deity. You see, the flying spaghetti monster. That's what they believe in, and that is the deity that is the flying spaghetti monster.
You remember that joke in Simpsons when they're like, when everybody came to pick their deities, the certain religions showed up late. Did they just not show up?
I mean, Jesus Christ! And
It,
that's a nice, great segue. No, I didn't mean that actually, but that fit pretty well, so I'm just gonna keep it, and I meant that. No, but yeah. So here's the flying spaghetti monster, and the members of such religion. They have. I thought it was just a spaghetti strainer. Somebody cultured me up. They
are
smartened me
those
up.
meatballs?
Yes, those are meatballs and flying spaghetti. Yeah, those are the pastafarians, right?
So they
And
pray to. Uh, yeah, he looks like one. He looks
yeah,
very angry at life.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Ah,
and they pledge their allegiance by wearing not a spaghetti strainer, but a colander. That's what it's called. I didn't know that. Just like when you get the fucking meat and cheese plate and whatever the fuck. I was like, oh, it's just a fucking party platter. Somebody was like, it's a charcuterie board, and I was like, wait, isn't that a lady's lady parts? I don't know.
the
I,
heck?
I know, I know. That's where yes. And Grand Farrell says that sounds like my kind of religion. Hopefully, it's not the charcuterie board, more of the flying spaghetti monster. But you know what? Fuck it. We're going with context. So guess what? He's saying that about. He is pledging his allegiance to the charcuterie board of the UK. That's what I'm going with.
Wow, and here's a nice little segue into your question. So, what was your favorite holiday? Let's get away from
My,
the
yeah,
flying spaghetti monster.
the charcuterie boards.
Yeah.
It's actually when I got this thing. This thing that is
I've
a
never had a tricycle before. It's so
yes.
cute.
It's not even a tricycle. It was
What
like
is
a
it?
fucking. So you would sit in the seat, and it's a pedal car, right? So think of
Oh.
bike, but just lazier, like lazier because you have to actually mount the fucking bike. But no, not in this particular case. And mine was exactly this color, this model. But I remember getting this on Christmas, right? And when my parents, they were like, "Oh, like look, wrap up the, fucking rip off the wrap ring." But my dad assembled it and everything like that, and basically there was wrapping in the form of a car, and I was like, fuck it, man, I'm gonna be a mechanic and I'm just gonna peek under the hood. So I just went like that and fucking whatever, and I climbed into the seat and I didn't even fucking realize that the wrapping was still on. So
Aw.
that was a precursor to what was to come in terms of my logic or lack thereof.
It's like, kid's gonna be a G. He's gonna be
Yeah,
fine.
he's gonna be something. He's gonna be
He's gonna
something.
be just fine.
My parents, if they could only see me now.
Have
I've stopped eating the drywall, so that works.
you stopped
Yeah,
licking the walls?
the canoodles.
The walls. Have you stopped
Oh,
licking the walls?
no, I've licked the walls down. What? There you go.
Oh,
Yes.
don't give Jericho any
Which I,
ideas. That might
which
be
I,
a song.
which I happen to have a Jericho AEW figure, so that's fun. That's really fun. But yeah, that was my favorite. And I used to, if you know of Howie Mandel's Bobby's World, there was a cartoon here in the U.S. and it might have played elsewhere. But Bobby Jenrick, he would basically ride around in his little fucking tricycle and just see wondrous lands and whatever the fuck. Well, that was me. I used to go up and down the hills of San Francisco in that thing, and that was how I saw my world. I didn't really leave home without it, especially if we were in like maybe a 3 mile radius of home. Like that was just the way that I fucking saw the world. I was just through the eyes of my fucking from the vantage point of my cattle car. So yeah, I know. I wanted to get my son one, and by the time we could afford to get him one, because these things are actually crafted in Germany, he was no longer able,
Interested?
or is yeah, because not that he's a lazy kid. He's just into the virtual reality. So every time he
Yeah,
puts the visors on, I fucking kick him in the face. It's like, that's real reality, bitch. There you go. Not that my son's a bitch. He's
you're the
awesome.
kind of person is. Have your son got a VR?
Yeah,
Do you
and a
screw with
fucking
him?
Switch.
Do you
Well,
mess with his head when he's got the VR on? That's what my
You
friends do.
you bet your bottom dollar, little orphan
That's
Annie, I do.
cruel.
No, fuck that. You guys, guess what? There's going to be a whole legion of TikTok videos or whatever, and guess what? I'm going to make them before the end of the year because I can write that $400 fucking whatever the fuck off. I'm just
That's
saying.
true. Actually,
Yeah,
that's
I'm going to
very
charge
true.
it to the according to Wood's running account, which has a sauna, 2 pugs, and a litany of fucking Funko Pops. So there you go. And just by showing that, guess what? I'm writing all them bitches off. Yes.
So, does anyone want to buy limited edition Funkos?
Fuck no. That's what I'm saying. It's just a production expense. It's a line item. So I win.
At
Hell yes.
least
I
you've
win.
thought about this. He's better at this than me.
Yeah. Just buy all dumb shit and whatever. I mean, shout out to Jesus Total Debacle on Instagram. But I actually have a pin that is a replica of the short-lived
Ooh.
Cruiserweight Tag Team WCW Cruiserweight Tag Team Championship. That was won by Billy Kidman. Yeah, on the final Nitro, Billy Kidman and Rey Mysterio, and he was like, "Oh, you should show that to Bischoff," and I was like, I thought about it, and I was like, "That's actually when Bischoff wasn't a part of the company anymore." So that might not be it. I was gonna gift it to him, and I was like, "No,
Maybe not a great idea.
no, no." It was like, you remember that? Like, let me send him a screenshot of the time that like Vince threw him in the trash. Like that'd be great, right? No, oh, it's like yeah, or just text him like, "Hey, remember this day? Oh yeah, that's the way the day fucking WCW died in 2001." No, like
Or just
that's
send him the double screen production when it was, I have bought my competition. Just send
no,
him that for Christmas.
yeah,
No, don't.
What? Yeah,
I apologize. No.
no, yeah. I like what you said, but like the opposite, that's probably what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Now it's. Do you have a favorite holiday dish outside of the fish? The fried fish conglomeration that we saw earlier. Do you have a favorite holiday dish?
I do. Like my favorite holiday dish was ruined by the wonderful world of bodybuilding. Is gammon. Like I love pork. Again, I'm sorry to all my vegan friends out there. I love your pieces, peace, whatever. But I like
Pieces of
gammon.
bacon?
Pieces of bacon.
Yeah, you
Um,
wish bacon bits on all of the vegans out there.
I'll just sprinkle it like snow. No, I'm joking. I I used to eat slices of like thick cut gammon from the fridge, and my mum used to always tell me I was gonna have a heart attack. But it got to the point where in a Jamaican dish we have pea soup, and in pea soup you have gammon. But I got to a point in my life where I didn't really like soup anymore. It just made me feel sick. So my mum would separately like cut the gammon in half, take out a little bit, and then cook it separately with rice, and I would just eat that. But gammon is my thing. I'm not a fan of crackling though. I'm not that English. You can keep your burnt pig fat. I don't want that.
So wait,
I
hold
just
on.
want the meat.
So the way you spoke was very regional, right? Because my mom being from a British Commonwealth, I got one deal in the cracklins, which we call pork rinds here in the states. But yes, which you fucking fry skin, which is weird. That's not buffalo
It's not
bob.
even fried. It's burnt. It's literally burnt, dry fats. Why would you? For what reason is this a thing?
Have you seen America?
Yeah, that's true.
Hell, you were in Florida.
Yes.
Your time out. So if anybody should fucking answer your own question, it would be you.
So,
Shout out to Florida. You guys live with fucking the lineage of dinosaurs and alligator, and just like, oh, that's cool. We're doing that. You know?
that's true.
Yes. And do you have an According to Woods Funko? You know
That's
what?
true. You
I
don't?
should. No, I don't. I don't. I should.
I even have an Aisha Raymond Funko. I gave it to my mom, but I haven't because it was a present.
Okay. Yeah.
How do you not have it? I'm gonna hook
I
you
have
up.
yeah, I have there's a Funko. The Funko Hollywood in Hollywood is like not too far away from me, and I just because of the COVID and whatever the fuck, and yeah, I just haven't gotten around to doing it. But
Dude, you're missing out on merch sales. Rookie mistake.
I should have like a merch store. People are like, okay, maybe you could educate me on said
Oh
matter.
no, don't ask me. I just know it's a rookie mistake. No,
Okay,
not me. Of all people, not me.
you
I
have
have
a
people to
Funko
do
and I
that stuff
don't.
for me.
Okay. Well, let my people. This is the most LA thing I can actually say, but I'll have my people call your people. Is that it?
That work. That work.
Yeah.
Have my people call your people. Yeah.
Yes. Now, Demon Slayer says, "Who are your favorite wrestlers in the UK?"
Can I pose a counter question to your question, past or present?
Hmm. You know what? And I love the graphic. Superboy. Right on. Um.
It's good.
Yes. So you know what? As we wait for the reply, but answer it however way the fuck you like. That's what I'm gonna go with.
If I say past, I am always been a fan of the old school. So it's every world of sport wrestler you could possibly think of. That's me. That's my thing, and that's what I love. Um, if it comes to terms of women in the UK, Combat Kate is literally one of my inspirations as well, and she kind of set the scene for a lot of women who were quite bigger in the business. So in terms of female wrestlers, if you're talking about past, every World of Sport wrestler personally, and female Combat Kate. Um, Present, me. I am my favorite. Isn't that the right answer, Woods?
Yeah, because if you didn't do it, I was gonna go like, oh, mine are BigFemVader, Aisha Raymond, Brody Adler, Debbie Keitel, Molly Spartan, Casey Owens, Regina Rosendahl. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
Regina.
yeah. That's
I
what I
am a
was
big
going with.
fan of that girl. Has
Yeah,
no idea.
I told you. I was like, oh, this is gonna be fucking awesome. This is like,
And it
I hate
was.
what. Yes, like I'm so glad that Regina is involved and all that jazz. In the new Renegade dojo. So it's just gonna be fun times ahead for everyone, and I think it's obviously the UK scene, and I'm preaching to the choir here, but obviously the UK scene, much like every other scene, MMA, pro wrestling on every given seaboard in 2020, it was man, burned to the fucking ground. And if it wasn't burned to the ground because of COVID, it was because of like the Me Too. So, with that all being said, I think the future of the UK scene couldn't be brighter.
Because it's just new. There's nothing you can't. I personally don't think that you can't disregard or have any negative feelings towards something that's new because you've never experienced it before. So you can't shit on anything until it's happened. When it's happened, if it's pap, then fine. But clearly, as you saw, our Renegade Wrestling show, our debut show, was not. Thank you very, very much for our sold out venue. Thank you very, very much for my amazing talent. Not mine, as in the talent of the roster, the talent. And just thank you for your support. Like, if anybody knew what I was going through that entire week, that it was this close to the show was probably not going to happen. Like, it was so close, so close. My head was going to go. I'm not a promoter. I'm going to try, but I'm not.
Yeah, no, 100%. No, I saw a little bit of that, and that's why it's so awesome. That's why I will put over the talent, and I mean a lot of them are friends and friends of the show. But like, I actually dig you guys fucking wrestling. I mean, me digging you wrestling is why we even fucking started this. Why I what over a year ago, right? 16 some odd months ago, I was like, hey, I'm this guy that probably nobody's heard of, but I want to be on the podcast.
Yes, I do. You're cool. I like to talk to you. That's basically what happened.
Yeah, yeah. That's I mean here every week for like God. I mean we're almost hitting. Speaking of Bischoff, like that 83-week mark, man.
Good.
Yeah,
Mr. Bischoff, I haven't been running for your number. You know, you have your people, call my people. And
I dig it.
just saying.
Just saying. And the good brother throwback from the Ricket Crazy Pinfalls podcast said, "What's good, guys? What's good?" And we're just answering questions of whatever you'd like to know about BigFemVader, who is wrestled in Japan, been featured on the WWE Mae Young Classic, the first one, the first incarnation, and a litany of others. A litany of others. We're just hanging out, man.
It's not just my questions. They want to know about you too, Woods. They're like you. You are like what's the word? Batman almost.
I was
The
gonna say
mysterious enigma. No.
I was like, if you want to know more about me, subscribe to the podcast. So, I mean, really,
Pay for it.
Like, yeah, because I mean, theoretically, I don't think I've shown myself more. Like I'll put everything into a podcast, and then I'll be like absolutely depleted morally and otherwise. The rest of the day. So when I'm in regular conversations, I'm like, don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, and you've done fantastic Aisha, 100%.
Oh.
Yeah, even though he's fired.
Yeah, he's still fine.
Jesus Christ.
I might give him another chance, but right now he's still fine.
I say, what is it that there was that song in the what is it, late 90s, early 2000s? The All I Need Is One More Chance. Like I could hear it in my head. Yeah, so that's Graham Farrell right now. He's what is it? Total or Expose or wherever that 90s R&B group girl that sang that fucking song. That's Graham Farrell right now.
I just have a horror. Did you used to watch Futurama at all?
I wasn't allowed to watch.
There's a scene in Futurama. It's the most saddest scene in the world. It's what's his name? It's Fry's dog. That Fry's dog waits for him, and there's a song that plays like over. It's "I Will Wait for You," and it's the dog slowly dying over time. When Fry disappears to the future, he waits for him outside of his apartment and until he dies. I imagine Graham doing that outside of my venue one day.
Ooh. Would to say anything, John Cusack with the radio above his head.
Please have me back.
Yeah, no, 100%. You know, and you're like, oh, that's the saddest thing, whatever. I have a weird fucking sense of whatever the fuck, like, especially when it comes to movies, because you know, the first time I saw Titanic, and everybody's like, you know, as a boy of a certain age, you're like, we get to see boobies, Kate Winslet's boobies. So you just have to get through Leonardo DiCaprio. You know, might look like a chick. And whatever.
So the whole fact that it was a true story actually happened. One of the most like horrible disasters that ever happened to our like mankind. That didn't cross your mind at all. No.
I like the rich people. You know, when the thing
When they
capsized,
bounce off them.
it sounded like a pinball machine.
That was my favourite part too. When it
See,
goes completely straight and they bounce off the little tubes.
because you, because they were rich fuckers, man. Because if they're on the deck, they're rich.
I know.
I mean,
Oh, but the bit with the band though got me when they were playing as it went down. I was like, oh, because I was taught that in school. I know that story was true. I was like, oh.
well, you know, it's I can't refer. Man, why am I forgetting the comedian? But like from that, I remember that that comedy bit where it's just like, yep, if that was a black band, like the fucking, you know, Cool in the Gang, they're like, fuck this.
They
You're
would have been
getting them.
smashing people
Yeah,
out of the way to get on the
exactly.
lifeboat.
Let's groove tonight. Out the fuck of this thing. Good lord, you know. Just saying.
Yeah, so Rory, so my partner told me a story the other day about when he was going on a train when it was really, really slowing, and they had evacuated everybody off the train because it stopped. And this guy came out in front of everybody and was like, "Women and children first, women and children first." So they let women and children on first. So now when everybody else is ready to pile on the train, Rory goes to the front of the train and sees this guy sitting on like one of the four-seater seats with all of his pals as the train drives by. So he said women and children first, and they just left without them.
Wow.
So some people aren't noble. Don't be
Wow.
noble. Disastrous situations. Think of yourself.
And now audio slave, God save yourself. Yeah, there we go.
See?
Yeah, that's the fucking jam. That's the fucking jam. Now, Graham has a question for me, actually. Uh, Question for you. Who was your first interview, and how nervous were you? Okay, so that is so the first podcast, I mean, of this incarnation was Jacob Rosales, who has fought for the LFA world title or the world title. I think that's 155-pound division. Has gone on to Dana White's Contender Series and what have you. So he was the first like podcast of this ilk. Now the first interview, my goodness, that actually this is when I wasn't even doing like in front of the camera stuff, but it was actually Heinrich Wassmer of Combate Americas, and essentially Heinrich Wassmer was my coach when I was training jiu-jitsu and such at Fight Academy in Pasadena, California. And it was a wild way about it because like I had gotten like maybe I got ringworm and something like that, whatever. But I couldn't grapple, right? So I was out, and then one of my kids they wanted to go to the library, and we couldn't go to the local library because well, not the local library, but like the big LA city library because we're just outside of LA city ordinances and what have you. But I was like, since we're downtown anyway, downtown LA, I heard this gym that Josh Barnett trains at, whatever, at least the social media said that him and the rest of the Four Horsewomen trained there. And I befriended the gentleman who was, at the time, we thought he was the owner of the gym. He has actually just recently, within the last month or so, passed away, which is wild. So, RIP Joel. But he introduced me to this gentleman called Bosun Wang, and Bosun was a videographer for Amazing Race and here in the States and what have you. Um, and Bosun and I, we did like promo videos, like we for like Bellator and Combate Americas and King of the Cage, pretty big promotions. And was actually talking to Court Bauer, funny enough, of MLW, who is still a producer on Combate for to basically come into the promotion, right, as a part of their production team. And so thanks to Bosun Wang for that. But my first interview was first it was Heinrich Wassmer, and then it was Daniel Rodriguez, who's now the top 15 welterweight in the UFC. And yeah, and I was nervous as shit, and I was even in front of the camera. Now, as far as my actual first in front of the camera interview, Fuck, couldn't tell you. It's I mean, I think just this podcast alone, we're in like at least 1,000 hours of content, right? Over since July 1st, 2020. Then that's not even including the 4 years prior doing interviews at local shows and what have you. So, man, hey, if you're the fighter or wrestler that I first interviewed, please let me know. And you know what? I know one of the first was Voodoo Maximus, Pius Lobo, who I do a podcast with, and that's kind of been my career. It was like, man, love people from afar, and then like want to do a podcast, and then we've become like friends and family and shit like that. So that's kind of been my career. So yeah, that's probably it. That's probably it.
See, I've heard you've done loads of mixed martial arts interviews, wrestling interviews. Is there another field? This is my question now to follow on from Graham's question. Is there another field that you'd rather want to cover, even if it's for your educational purposes, so you don't know that much about it, or you just, Oh,
Fuck no. No, I mean, this is it. This is the dream, man. Like, and am I, am I a reporter? Fuck no. There's not a news story I want to break or what have you. I think there's one thing on the channel. I think when, I want to say it was Mayhem Miller, where he got arrested for something or whatever the fuck, and I got a tip from a friend and whatever, and that's what happened. But yeah, I didn't feel great about it, and I never did it again. Like the scoop, and I think that has like close to 700 views, like one of the most viewed contents. But I've contemplated taking it down because Mayhem Miller, the host of Bully Beatdown and UFC and Strikeforce alumnus, but he's gotten into some fucking crazy shit, man. A lot of it unexcusable and what have you, but I've been in the confines of Mayhem, and there's something off, right? So like, I wish he'd get help, and people were there to help him rather than lambast him because he did something wrong and be the first to a fucking story. Fuck that, man. Yeah. So this is it. But I only do the shit that I like. Now, mind you, the other thing that I make is like, music. So maybe some musicians. That'd be cool. And I've had a few. Noah Lazarus, who's huge in the Philippines, he's been on, which that got demonetized right off the bat because he played a fucking song, his song, on the stream, and they were like, oh, Noah Lazarus has the fucking rights to it. I'm like,
but he played it.
it's fucking him, and it was awesome. It was so great. What the fuck? Yeah.
So how could you get demonetized if he was the one that played it? You can't.
I didn't even know. No, it wasn't a demonetized because I don't know if I'm monetized yet. That's kind of inside kayfabe. But with that all being said, it was definitely a copyright strike for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So there's that. Now, Throwback says, who do you guys want to work with next? I'm going to, ladies first.
Well, I'll be working then at my next most recent match will be against Giselle Shaw. But me personally, I would love now, especially now that she's announced her separation from Seedling and retirement might be inevitable soon, is that I want to face Nane Takahashi for the last time as well. Like, she's been my teacher, she's been my senpai and my mentor for so long. And the matches that we've had in Japan have been awesome. And if it's going to be our last dance really soon, I'd like to at least be in that lineup. That's all I want.
Wow, that's great. I think that's amazing. Teacher becomes a student. And especially when it goes to especially Japanese wrestling or pursuit, right? Um, that's a big thing. It's wild because I actually have a Luthez replica NWA World Title, and Luthez came back, yeah, to wrestle Chono, and he was in his 70s, and Chono was his student and whatever, and he wanted to do the honors, and I was able to see something recently with the aforementioned War Master Josh Barnett take on. Alex Coughlin for New Japan in Riverside. So, And at the end of it, Josh took the mic and he was like, "Hey, I've been given strict orders from Shibata-san and what have you, but I'm giving you my vote of confidence." And I was like, "Oh shit, damn, right on." And I wanted to talk to him about it, but like they had to go on the bus. They still, no matter if they're in Japan or not, New Japan still does the fucking bus deal. So heels and faces, there you go.
There's nothing wrong with that. That still happens in most. In most, it's the same. How about you? Who do you want to work with next? Who would you like to have your dream come? Maybe like New Year's interview. That's not me because I'm gonna have so many things to tell you. But it's not me. It's got to be somebody else.
I would say, right? You know what? Shoot for the moon, even if you land short, yeah, land amongst the stars. Uh, I won't say the name, but
Can you give me a description?
mother, mother,
Really?
yeah. I would. That's it. I would say that, and the Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan. Those are my two. And with Kevin Sullivan, I would just be, of course, his career and what have you. But I want to fucking know about Don Lewin, the fucking Purple Haze Don Lewin. Good God, you guys go ahead and I mean, after this podcast, obviously, but like check out. Like everybody wants to talk about, especially when like the conspiracy theories of what happened in the Benoit tragedy, whatever. They want to put Kevin Sullivan's demonic character, right? But they put that. They don't fucking remember the actual promo where he's that, and him and woman, right, are there in like maybe the Florida Everglades and shit, and they're conjuring up this demon, and out comes the fucking Purple Haze, jacked as fuck, Mark Lewin, who I believe, like a mix of Don Lewin and the spoiler Don Jardine, is essentially the Undertaker.
Mm.
Undertaker Taker took both deals, and made it his own. And I'm not discrediting Taker for it, but like if and especially where Taker was in Texas, where Jardine was in pre-Purple Haze, because I think he was already in his 40s or 50s, and already had a 20-year career before he hooked up with Sullivan, where he's like a white meat baby face. But that would be it, man. I'm fascinated by fucking Don. I mean, what's his name? Shit, Mark Lewin. I'm fascinated. His whole run in fucking New Zealand with what's the guy? Hey, my boy. They fucking make fun of him all the time. Jesus Christ. He's an old time promoter who promoted Australia and New Zealand. Fuck. He was a um, I don't even know what the terminology, so I'm going to step away from it. But everybody like from Jim Ross to Dusty Rhodes to whoever the fuck, when they're talking about him, they do his voice. He's a very affluent gent. God, I can't remember his name, but
You
yeah.
will
So
eventually. You will enter at the end.
yeah, 100%. And so, not that this is the end, but Graham Farrell wants to know. Let's ask the question that is known to everyone, but answered by none. What came first, the children or the egg?
I think you're supposed to write chicken.
Okay, I'm gonna go with children.
Do you, the egg, actually. Aha. Even if that question is paused, scientifically, if you think about it, it is the egg. There would
Vince,
be no child without the egg.
as great as that is, you know who really should be answering this question, right?
Who?
Well, that's good shit. Ha ha, pal. Fucking Vince McMahon, from fucking Survivor Series and having the gobbledygooker to whatever the fuck this past Survivor
Hey,
Series was.
that
It
could
was
have
a
been
past,
Taker, okay? I'm just glad it was a chicken that came out of that crap. Like that could have been this
well,
close.
speaking of chicken, yes,
Yes.
chicken.
Do it.
Bloody Audi, correct? Yeah. So I'm actually gonna. Yeah. I think Vince I want to hear what he has to say. Now will probably never let it on. What the fuck? Because that would be a proverbial slip. That would be a bit of a joke to the genetic jackhammer. Yes, he said that. I didn't. But
Did
yeah,
many
that's
times,
many times.
many
Oh,
times.
genetic jackhammer. Oh, good shit. Yeah. Um, but yeah, so that's. I mean, I think I'm underqualified to talk about eggs, but I think Vince McMahon, that that dude, I want to fucking find out what he thinks about eggs.
Well, you know, the answer to the question is what came first, the chicken or the egg? The answer is Vincent, man.
Okay, got a question for you. Who survives like the last vestige of human life? Is it going to be Vince McMahon or Cher?
Oh, that's cruel. So what has happened in the world? Are we talking like Mad Max post-apocalyptic, or is it like Far Cry? What's the
Wait,
criteria here?
wait. Mad Max is the Thunderdome. We've already been there, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So, and we
So we're
might be
talking
going
Far
there
Cry.
again. I cried
So we're
really
talking.
far. I'm
I know.
far
So
away
we're.
from you, and I'm crying
Um,
internally. Internally.
yeah. Um, can we have a Vince Share hybrid? Is that a thing? I mean, they are male and female. It could. They are the last two.
Could they procreate? What would that look like? What would that look like? A Vince Share baby. Each of them like 80s. Like
Type in
in
Pokemon Jinx.
Pokemon Jinx?
Yeah.
Pokemon Jinx.
For some
Poke.
reason, I just have
She. Jesse? No. Jirachi?
no
No.
Jinx. JY
Okay. The
and
evolution. I feel like I have to. Whoa! Holy fuck! Okay.
do you see it?
Yes, I'm
That's
bringing
what
it
I
up.
think it might look like.
Jesus Christ! What the fuck is that? And
Share it with
who?
the world.
That is weird. It's so weird. And you guys might know this, but I don't know any of this.
He doesn't know what it is. I think
Yeah,
a hybrid of Vincent Mann and Cher will look like Jinx from Pokemon.
Jesus
I
Christ.
think the hair, look at
Jesus.
the shoulders. It's even got the shoulders.
Oh,
The dress is there. The mouth for talking. The eyes for looking. And the skin is biologically correct because it's purple. Yeah, it's like Simpsons. They're yellow, purple. It's very neutral. We don't know what might happen.
well, you know what's wild though? In terms of the offspring of Cher, they both identify as transgender.
Oh, they both do. Did they both do? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, which I mean, something might come out of it.
I honestly
Yes,
didn't actually know that.
yes, yeah. Uh, Woods. Oh, wait, yeah. Demon Slayer says, "Woods, your favorite
Be
audio slave?"
yourself. Be
Really?
yourself. It's be yourself. I'm sorry, but Chrissy Hemi ruined it. But Be Yourself is the greatest audio slave song ever.
Um, yes. And I guess the second part would be, and how did you get Bischoff on the show? Actually, on the show twice. Um, then I've been on his
Dropping
after 80.
names.
Well, him and Chrissy Olsen and Steve Kaufman, along with George Hermosa's after 83 weeks, where we basically break down that week's episode of 83 weeks, the main show on ad-free shows and on YouTube, wherever you can find Conrad Thompson's podcasts and what have you. But it's that. It's me knowing Steve Kaufman and Chrissy Olsen, and they introduced me out to Bischoff, and I've done his show a couple of times, and they're like, "Hey, want to do something?" And I was like, "Fuck yes!" And yeah, I even admitted that my mom had a crush on him. And funny enough, on my mom's anniversary, my mom
You can
passed.
tell him I kind of liked Easy too.
Yeah, okay, we'll do.
I was a
Absolutely.
fan.
Okay,
He had
yeah,
such a movie star face.
yeah. He's still a good-looking gentleman. Like he's still a good-looking gentleman, and he will tell you himself that. Um, but he's also really fucking modest. He's like everything that you think that Eric Bischoff could be in terms of horrible, whatever. And if you take a Jim Cornette, who I also love, but if you take a vision of that and whatever, and you'd be like, Bischoff's an asshole. He fucking fired Steve Austin by FedEx or whatever. He is one of the most kind, considerate fucking people. There was something that like he thought might be amiss and whatever. And he asked a couple people, like, whatever, for my number and text and called me directly to make sure I wasn't offended. Um, he's incredible. So I'm just saying. And favorite Audio Slave song? That is Shadow of the Sun. Because, I mean,
Really? Oh,
that's
dude. Disappointing.
not, no, but not the fucking weird Jamie Foxx Tom Cruise movie version, like the fucking one from that album. And
Oh, okay, all right then.
yeah, because the
The
fucking
actual radio edit of that song, yeah.
the radio edit of that song, fucking well, the fact that you got a radio edit of that, no, we got beer, no, we got, I think we only got like uh Cochise, obviously the first one, we got
Yeah.
Cochise, we got fuck, what else would we got? Obviously, Be Yourself.
Obviously.
Um, there was like one other one.
Yeah, there was one I used to play all the time on my iPod. iPod, so dated.
Isn't that? Didn't they just combine that with a phone and they call it the iPhone? It's the same fucking
Yeah,
thing. Right?
and the thing is, I've never had an iPhone, but I've always had an iPod. I think iPhones are the most pointless pieces of gadgets in the face of the earth. Like, I hate them. Like, no, just get an Android. Everybody, like, people that have an iPhone, stop it now, stop,
Wow,
stop.
wow, fuck, man. Uh, I mean, to get you less heat, Graham Farrell wants to know favorite match of all time.
So my favorite match of all time was what inspired my main event for the Renegade Wrestling Show, and it was a 20-minute time limit with NJPW All Star, Japanese Joshi All Star, Japanese wrestling legend Arisa Nakajima. And we went 20 minutes. That girl kicked the holy shit into me, and I had never learned so much in 20 minutes that I had learned probably in 10 years at that time of wrestling. Which is one of the reasons why I booked the match that I did when it was Brody Adler versus Regina Rosendale, because I saw the same amount of respect, the same amount of passion, the same amount of credibility that those two had, that both I and Arisa had. And it was the same on both ends. Both of them didn't realize the ability of each other, and it was in that match where there was a mutual sign of respect, which is why I shared the picture I did on the internet, because it was literally mirror by mirror. It was the same picture side by side in different parts of the world, and I knew it was going to happen. You know, I'm going to be a booker soon. I'm not going to be a promoter, but I would definitely be a producer and agent. But I knew it was going to work. Even though they doubted me for a while, I knew it was going to work. And it was a match of mutual respect. As much as I wanted them to beat the hell out of each other, mutual respect is cool.
Fuck yeah, man. And again, I think the world of Blue too. So I'm echo your sentiments. Which there might be some footage coming, and there might be
Mm-hmm.
my voice on it and whatever. So I'm.
Oh, my editor hates me right now. Yes, your voice will be there, but the editor hates me right now at this very moment in time.
Oh, sorry, editor guy, person.
Sorry.
Yeah. And I only said guy because you're like, editor guy.
No, it's right. His last name is Guy, so that's good.
Okay, editor guy.
He's that Efkin guy. You can
Yeah.
check him out on that Efkin show.
Okay, right on. In terms of like, it's not a match, but I'm it is conducive to my favorite Mania, and that's Mania 10, and it is the feeling, not just the matches that led up to it, but the feeling that I get when I watch it. Like the first time that I saw it, I rented it from a Martin's grocery store in South Bend, Indiana, and at that point, this was the first of many moves that I and my family had made from what I knew in San Francisco, California, to like moving to Indiana. And, there was a short stint in Fiji before. Then we'd go to Vegas, New Mexico, Georgia, and then LA, right? And didn't know anything about it, whatever. But I remember where my mom was just like, "Go rent a video," and it was Mania 10. It had just come out, and I was just like, "Oh, Brett!" I was that kid in that fucking new, yes, that new. I think I might actually have a
The
video.
entrance. I never liked
Yes,
that. I hated that video so much.
what? That was me. That was so
Hey,
fucking me.
dude, kid. No, 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 no,
Yeah,
no.
that was me. That was so fucking me. I lived vicariously through it, to the extent where I fucking named a kid Owen. So I'm just saying, I'm all in that shit. But with that all being said, it's the matches. It's Brett and Owen, opening the match, and the Finkel entrance, right? R.I.P. R. Ed Finkel, one of the greatest of all time ring announcers or otherwise, just people, and from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and then fucking the Rockets music plays, and it's fucking Owen Hart and shit, and I'm like, swerve, shit. That was, and you could hear the chorus of boos and shit like that. And then you tie up, Lex and Brett tumbling over the ropes at Rumble, right? And you fucking put a nice bow tie on that. They, move from Lex, who had been, doing the whole Lex Express deal up, right before that, and we saw him from a narcissist to, the fucking all American Lex Luger.
I like that gimmick. That was a good
Yeah.
gimmick. It
Oh,
works.
it fucking works.
That was better than the Lex Express. And Narcissus is the best gimmick he had. He should have just stuck with that and it would have been fine.
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. And then obviously the very last kind of images that you see of Mania 10, Brett beats the indomitable monster Yokozuna, right? And fuck what you say. You're like, he wasn't dominant because Hogan beat him with one eye and shit, at the previous Mania. Fuck that. Yeah, I don't care. No, it was.
Yeah, but how does
He was
that
still a
make
monster.
sense? Yeah, but how's that? Hogan beat him with one eye, so he's not a monster anymore. Instead of
No, I'm just saying he was beat before. It's just like
oh yeah,
Hogan. Oh, Hogan slammed Andre. Fucking Jerry Lawler and Harley Race did it first. Shut the fuck
and
up.
a couple of other French guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just
A
saying.
couple of dozen French guys.
No, I mean, when the French guys did it, Andre was a svelte young gentleman. He was not as
He was
girthy.
still pretty big.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that. But he was an as girthy a gentleman as we knew him to be, especially if you watch WWF TV. But yeah, I'm just saying. So that's it. And now again, Mania 10, that main event, and it was beautiful match and what have you. And Brett, he's like, "Oh man, I have to fucking carry Yoko and whatever." I don't care. Fucking Yokozuna was my mom's favorite wrestler, and we'd get into arguments about like, "Oh shit," like, "Oh, that Japanese whatever." And my mom was
No,
like,
he's
from Samoan.
he's from the island. He's from
And
the
I was like,
island.
"Fuck no, he isn't." And I didn't tell my mom, "Fuck." But
How could
yeah,
you not? That would have been a crowning moment of our lifetime.
I know.
Like when I found out that flipping Muhammad Hassan was Italian, I was like, "For shame on you!"
Yeah, no. So, but I mean, so again, that match, and it's everything after. Them putting Brett on the shoulders, all the baby faces, and all that. I think it was like Scott Steiner and Bob Holly, had him on Brett on the shoulders where he does the fucking bull horns, and then you see Owen come out, and again, fucking masterful. Come like whatever, and you think, and Savage, fresh off his win over Crush, where he fucking tries to hog tie him or whatever the fuck, and it just didn't work. But Savage fucking letting Owen come in, fucking sitting on the ropes, and Owen just mouthing something, just what the fucker, whatever, and and then it's just. To me, that is some of the greatest storytelling that WWF and wrestling as a whole. When it's good, it's fucking great, and it's a great moment. So it's not a match per se, but it's the string of that. Yeah, absolutely, and it's the way I felt when the first time I saw it. And then everything Okada.
Of Of
Yeah,
course.
and I
I
just
always, and I was gonna say, I always feel bad when anybody mentions Owen because Owen Hart for me is the Aaliyah syndrome. If Aaliyah didn't pass away, you'd have no Beyonce.
yeah,
That would not be a thing. I'm sorry. No. And you wouldn't have any of these. I'm sorry, Leona Lewis would not be a thing if Aaliyah was
no,
still alive. No.
no,
But it's the same with Owen Hart. There are so many people that his passing allowed other people to uprise. But if he was alive, he would have been on top for so long. It would have been so beautiful. I'm just like, he was the brother. That was the talent. And I'm sorry, no disrespect to Brett at
yeah,
all, but that was the talent. That was the look. I mean, he was blonde for God's sakes. He's flipping wet. He's Vincent Mann's wet dream. He was
yeah.
blonde. He was athletic. It's like, there you go. And he's male. Oh, look, the other side of the spectrum. So you're not female, but you're actually a dude. Cool.
And
Oh, it's,
personality and charisma
I
to like
know.
in loads. Actually, I cried because I forget whatever that AEW is doing the Owen Hart Cup, and they ran on this week's Dynamite a little promo package of and it is you could tell it's shit from Martha Hart's fucking archive, man, and him in Japan and everything like that. And that's those deep cuts. That's the shit I love. Like the WWE footage, like, and it doesn't make sense. I know. I say that with absolute total disclosure, but I cannot watch Owen Hart on anything WWE produce. I just can't.
Yeah.
I've read Martha's book. I know how she feels. Anybody that wants him to be in the WWE Hall of Fame, really fuck you, honestly, because like it's not the wrestler, it's her husband, her
He
kid's
should be in a
father.
wrestling Hall of Fame, but he
Yeah,
shouldn't be in the. For
which
him
he
to be put
is.
in,
He
yeah,
is.
for him to be put in a WE Hall of Fame is a massive that's basically walking up to any serial killer and handing them your child after they've killed your husband. It's
Yeah.
that bad. Like for him to be, he should be in a wrestling Hall of Fame, a Canadian Hall of Fame, yes, but
Which
not
he is.
a WE Hall of Fame. That doesn't make any sense.
No,
It
no.
would never. Even though to so many people who, to be fair, the generation has like surpassed so much now that unless you watch the Vice documentary, which I could only watch once, and I watched it for you, but I can't watch it again because I will not sleep and it will make me sad, and I don't want to be in that place. But unless you watch that Vice documentary, the generation now wouldn't know who Owen was. Like, sadly, but
That's
it's
that.
true.
Yeah, no, that's a travesty. And when people are like, "Oh, I watched in the Attitude Era and whatever," and like for me, Owen and Pillman get like those are two of my favorite fucking wrestlers ever. Like,
And
I
those are
mean,
the two documentaries I couldn't watch
yeah,
until apart from once. I watched them once and I can't do it again. I
yeah.
cannot.
Well, oh man, if you thought the Owen Dark Side of the Ring was tragic, no, go to Martha's book and how
Uh,
yeah,
I've got it, and I've
yeah.
literally it's still in its case, and I can't do it. I just can't. I can't do it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the way that he died, like when he was the final everything in that Kansas City hospital, and yeah, it's very stark. So, and shout out to, I think no better time. Shout out to Dr. Martha Hart, Oj, and Athena for basically building the Owen Hart Foundation to where it's a worldwide vision and an expression of what Owen was. And that's one of the reasons why I, not only myself, but Kevin Steen named our firstborn sons Owen. And he took the surname Owen once he got into the WWE. It's because of Owen Hart and the person that he was. So shout out to them. And then you didn't have to let him come back his image and license and likeness to come back in. They did the thing with pro wrestling teams, which I have two Owen Hart, t-shirts. First time in fucking what, almost 30 years that we get a new piece of Owen merch. I was all up on that motherfucker, right?
How many
And
did you
then,
buy?
well, I one of each, one of
Oh, of
each,
course.
one
I
of
know.
each, one of each. But then also, allowing AEW, and that to me, that's where, of course, WWE will always be what it is.
Yeah.
But for me, you've got Brian Pillman's son there. You have Luke Perry's son there. You have Owen there. You've got Sting there. You've got CM Punk there. Like Brian Danielson and all these people that talk about like, oh, they hire ex WWE guys or whatever. This is what
Well,
I've always
everyone's
wondered.
an XWE guy if you think about it. You can't use it as an equation. I hate it when people say that.
Yeah, it's
Like,
just because they stopped or got released from the WWE, they can't wrestle anymore
yeah.
anywhere. Like what the
Or they can't be held. They can't be held into that account. They need to start from the bottom and start upwards. It's like, well, no, they're still wrestlers. When they've been released, they're indie wrestlers like everybody else, like everyone else. If
Mhm.
they've managed to get a job, they got a job. It's got nothing to do with them being XWE stars. That's just
Yeah.
not like one of my closest friends, and one of my favorite people in the world, Jamie Hayter. Not an
Yeah.
XWE star. One of the most like there you go.
And she's killing it. She's awesome.
Yeah, no,
And that's the
so
other thing, right? Jamie Hayter, the way that they've promoted Rebel was even better. It's even better than what she was in Impact when she actually had her run, right? Look, Eddie Guerrero's wife is there. Like, there's just so many things. And then in addition to that, you've got, burgeoning stars like, I mean, that ex WWE, what have you, but FTR, they're one of the best tag teams ever. Honestly, they're there. You've got Britt Baker. You've got shit like so many people. The top flight kids. Shit. Martin, Dante Martin, and whatever. Like that dude's a fucking star. Hook is a fucking star. Geez, there's so many homegrown AEW stars at this point. Like you can't say, oh, they just hire ex WWE people or whatever the fuck. Like AEW is great, and I don't want to be like, oh, they're the greatest thing ever. But what they're doing is absolutely different. And these things, and I was having the conversation with my wife earlier, actually when I was doing the replay of Dynamite, and I was just like, this is everything that the WWE says they can't do. They can't provide people insurance. They can't, give them full time salary, whether they're, wrestling or not. They're treating it like actual fucking people. Look at what they did with Brody Lee. That to me, that's the best, in memoriam tributes that wrestling has ever had. It's just fuck, man. It's just even the Hubers, right? The Amanda's working in the office, and like it's just so great. And it's not just like Amanda's working the office; she's a former wrestler. She knows, and what she's doing in terms of the community outreach for AEW, it is something that she knows and has a bit of expertise in doing. So it's not a vanity hire at all. So I dig it, and then you're seeing a Rocky Romero, and you're seeing like people coming in, all these things that we were told for eons, you can't be done, it can't be done, it can't be done. Even though the WWE did it, right? I remember the ECW invasion of the mid to early '90s, right? The NWA invasion, right? You remember that? Hell, there was an invasion pay per view that was done to shit because Vince
that.
fucking got trigger happy and he couldn't allow anybody else to shine.
But that's what I never understand. The whole reason, one of the main reasons why AEW has been successful for this term, and just from the time of debuting, is because it's something different. Like one of my rhetorics of the world is live to be different, and your difference can change the world. No one steal it. Don't steal my shit.
Like that
but
shit then.
yeah, but difference creates controversy. You can't difference creates controversy. Difference makes everything interesting, and you can't get better without competition. You generally can't stay at the stop for so long, and then what happens is you get bored and you start giving people exactly what you think is correct rather than what they want. And if there's something different, then that makes you work even harder. The problem is there's been no competition for so long; they've just been stagnant. It's like here you go, you can have this on a Monday and a Friday, or Thursday, or Wednesday.
Yeah, whatever they do, or the YouTube. And I mean,
Or that you
until yeah, I mean, honestly, because I didn't have a way to watch AEW, like whatever the fuck. I just watched AEW. What is it, Dark and Elevation? I was fine with those shows, and then not even getting into the main shows. Like I'm just saying, like AEW build stars the way that Vince McMahon used to promote them
Yeah.
during your favorite era, whether that be Attitude or the Golden Age of the '80s. Still, AEW is doing that.
Some parts of the Roof of Aggression, they did
Yeah,
try. Didn't
yeah.
fulfill all their. Batista was probably the only one.
Him and Cena, right? Him and
Yeah,
Cena.
but Cena
Right?
doesn't count. That's like
He's
Ken.
the
They
guy
basically Cena.
that
He was
aggression.
always going to be Ken. He was always going to be the Ken doll. Cena doesn't count in the
Not
equation.
according to fucking Jericho.
What? It was
Wacky.
supposed to be Randy. Yeah, that's
No, no,
true.
no. Wacky roll up guy. He was going to get cut. You don't know this story.
I don't remember. No.
Okay, so basically, this was when Cena was still like, wearing the trunks of whatever city that he was in. We were in North Carolina. He does the baby blue and the white. They're in LA. He does Lakers colors or whatever. And he would beat people with the most devastating move in pro wrestling history, the fucking schoolboy, right? And that was it. And he was about to get cut. Jericho went to Vince. Was like, "There's something here. There's something here." That paired with that fucking European tour where Stephanie McMahon
Oh, made
gets
him
in.
rap.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, he was already rapping, and then she's like, do that again. And that's essentially, that was a 20-year career, but they almost shot on it, So I'm just saying. So maybe Batista, like that's it. Because, I mean, if given the WWE's own standards, Cena wouldn't have even fucking survived it. Just saying, yeah. And the dudes at ringside saying, "What's going on, guys? What's going on, dudes?"
Yay.
Metal Geek, and Joe Panther Jr. Check out their pod on Twitch and YouTube if you haven't already done so.
You
Shout out
should.
to yeah, absolutely. And Graham Farrell says, "When will we see an Aisha versus Katzabella match?" I'm interested, and there's a biblical reference in there somewhere.
What, David and Goliath or good versus evil, where I just go kick the cat. No, don't kick the cat. No, I'm sorry. Don't cancel me. I'm not gonna kick the cat.
There's a whole Netflix fucking thing.
I know. That's why I stopped. Don't f with cats. I know that. I'm not doing it. I'm not getting cancelled. There's not going to be a Katzabella match because I don't want to get cancelled.
That's good.
That's the answer to your question.
Well, it's funny because I mean, you were talking about the pescatarian and you're Christian and all that, whatever. I total disclosure, I was brought up a Nietzschean Buddhist. So when people are like, "Oh, that scripture, what have you?" I don't have it. Like, of course, there were like Christian and Catholic people in my family. There were a couple of times where like I would have to go to mass and skip breakfast because I woke up too fucking late, whatever the hell. Probably watching wrestling the night before, right? And and I was like, Padre, can I get more crackers? And they're like, "Oh, that's the blood of Christ." I was like, "Fuck, that tastes like stale ass crackers, and I haven't eaten."
Blood of Christ. This is the body of Christ.
Yeah.
Forwards.
Forwards. Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, like, honestly, they're like, "Oh, the wine, the blood." And I was like, "Oh, I don't want to drink blood. I'm not a vampire. Like, it's not whatever." And I was like, "Oh, this is Welch's. This is juice. This is grape juice. I like this. And this is juice, not drink, not the fucking Kool-Aid." And that wasn't even Kool-Aid. It was the fucking Flavor Aid. It was the fucking store brand version of Kool-Aid. Couldn't even afford the Kool-Aid. That's different now, but yeah. So Flavor Aid or Flavor Right is what we got. So when I
at least got cherry wine. Like, I remember there being cherry wine. It was always wine. It was never juice. It was wine.
So enough of the blood would get you sauced?
Pretty much. I mean, it was Jesus juice after all.
I'm not, because where that comes from.
You don't want to touch that one. It's fine.
Yeah, no, I'm good. And Graham Farrell says, "Kick a cat." I almost pissed my boxers.
I'm not gonna kick the cat. Don't get me cancelled. It's not happening.
Well, why don't you kick the piss out of his boxers?
He's fired. He should be speaking anyway. You've got no.
Ooh, so elitist of you, BigFemVader. So elitist.
Fire.
Jesus. You know what?
Uh,
I think I might have made a shirt. Anyway, but before we go, what are you looking forward to the most going into 2020? And we'll probably do another show before the end of the year. But is there any things that you're looking forward to or like to have happen?
Me personally, I'm just hoping that everything gets back to normal, and then I am quite amazing next year, and that I just everything gets back to normal. That's it. Just put me on a plane. Uh,
Okay.
everything goes back to normal. Normal. Normality. Stop locking me in my house. Stop trying to jab me with stuff. Stop putting chemicals in my body. I just want to breathe air and eat food and be cool. Please. Pretty please. And stop
I
having parties and telling people they can't spend Christmas with their families. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Boris. I'm looking at you. I'm
ooh,
looking at you.
damn.
I ain't seen my family in 2 years, yet you're having parties with wine and cheese. I'm looking at
Yeah,
you.
that's no different than here in the States, my goodness, you know. And everybody who said that after said party, all their kids got COVID. So I'm not saying like whatever, but karma's a motherfucker. So
Mm.
watch it. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. That Boris Johnson, man. He
No,
looks
that's such a hot. It's such a like a it's such a sensitive subject for me generally because I had to watch my family from my phone screen while he was locking people in their houses. Yet he's got like that was not a business meeting, dude. There were dogs, there was wine, there was cheese. They had swinging tables. Business. What work were you doing that you haven't done this whole year? That's keeping us locked in the house. Please tell me what work you were doing.
wait.
What work?
You said swinger tables?
Swing it. No, they had like swinging chairs, like garden. They had
Oh,
like literal garden furniture, wine, cheese, servers, dogs were there, and it's like, oh, we were doing business. It was business. Flick hair, prick.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Because
it. This is when my Twitter gets shut down. I don't care.
you know, so because swinging is a completely different connotation here in the states.
I may have been doing that too. I have no idea, but you know.
And I mean, right before the world shut down, I might have been at a. I can say this because it's whatever. But Eddie Bravo, right? Eddie Bravo, who's a genius when it comes to no gig jiu-jitsu, right? A, a fashioned the 10 planet system that has been used everywhere from his own, competition on Eddie Bravo's Invitational Combat Jiu-Jitsu with Puerto Rican slap boxing. At least that's what I'd call it. And many a champions have come out of a 10 planet affiliate itself. Well, they have 10 planet parties. And the one right before COVID was held at a demonic sex club to the extent where my wife was like, and this is pre-COVID, like we opened the door, there's like a fucking puff of smoke, whatever, and then there was like a sex Baphomet head, and she's just like, no, no, she
They were
has a
like,
fucking
join us,
yeah,
join
yeah,
us.
and the reason why I can say this is because actually Anthony Burchak, formerly of the UFC and head coach of Toro Tech MMA as well as 10 Planet Tucson, another 10 Planet affiliate, he actually told this story on the Jesus Christ. It was the Sex and Violence with Rebel Girl with Ashley Evan Smith, who fights in the UFC. And yeah, he told that story where uh, they were at the sex hub. And I was like, oh shit, that was you guys. Him and his wife, Mercedes, because they were simulating sex on the dance floor on a sex screen. So when you're at swinger swing or
No,
whatever, or chair, yeah, that's what I was like, oh,
I
Boris
don't want
Johnson.
to pick Boris Johnson on one of those. Nah, it's cool. You can keep
I
that
saw a
swing
lot of
swing.
memes of the American version of Boris
Oh,
and
his
what have you.
twin. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But like there was they did the whole Hulk Hogan, but Trump face, and as he's doing the wrecking ball. Do you know that?
Yes, I can't. Someone showed me that again the other day. I tried to erase it from my mind, and then someone re-showed it to me, and I'm just like, "What? Why? What?" I think it was you actually that showed it to me first. I think you messaged it to me.
Probably more than likely than not. Yeah.
Like,
Probably.
why is he not wearing a jumpsuit? Why is he not wearing a paper bag and a mask? It was
Wait,
not enough.
why would Hulk Hogan wear a paper bag and a mask?
Because he needs to. At least for why that was way too much flesh for my hand that I can't.
I mean, that's nothing compared to his sessions with, his daughter. Where he's
Rubbing
massaging her
baby
butt up.
oil.
Yeah, and the daughter looks exactly like the new wife.
Or does the wife look like the daughter? This is the thing I've always tried to work out. Who looks like because I don't know what Linda looked like back in the day. So who actually looks like who? Because I've not actually seen pictures of Linda way back when.
You know what's weird? I think that Linda and maybe it's just because it's Florida, but like Linda and Phil Collins' wife or ex-wife, they're just out gallivanting, spending their respective husbands' money just for the fuck of it. No, spend fucking Hogan's money. I don't give a shit. But freaking Phil Collins, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? Orve, whatever the fuck her name is. Jesus Christ, that dude he's an international treasure. That motherfucker is. I'm just saying. Trying to force him back on the road. He's all decrepit and shit. He can still sing his ass off. He's still dynamic as hell. But he's broken back, broken foot because you took his ass to the cleaners. He's got we get a fucking Phil Collins tour after he retired in '97. Oh, we get another Genesis tour, which I'm not mad at. But I'm just saying, we know why. It's you, Phil Collins' ex-wife, that he married twice.
Why would you do that? I'm never making that mistake twice. If I didn't want you once, I'm not going to want you again. That's not how it works. Oh, give me another chance. No. I don't. No. No.
She even said that he didn't wash regularly. He put that in the fucking divorce document. And I was like, you fucking horrible shrew, you. You are a shrew of the shrewiest.
The shrew of the most shrew degree.
Yes, absolutely. Shrew degree. That needs to be a shirt. But yeah, happy holidays, all of you folks. Thank you for joining us here in this, I guess, festive mood and what have you. I was going to wear this, but I was like, I don't want to be perceived as somebody who has a hood. So that's probably why I'm not wearing that. But BigFemVader, where can they find you on social media?
Well, you can find me and the rest of my rebels if you want them at RW Dojo, at RW Dojo into any social media platform. Or you know what? You can just type in at BigFemVader into all the social media platforms. You can get this lovely Warner Brothers, wrestling, entertainment, music, TV, podcast, just all round awesome face. And you can check out the rest of my rebels and exactly what they're going to do next year at the Renegade Dojo.
Damn right. The running rebels of Renegade Dojo. And Graham Farrell says, have a good Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Yes. And you guys are closer to it than I, right? Because it's about 8 o'clock local time there, which means, so you guys get it in a couple hours.
Yeah.
We're probably not that here in the States. It's
that means Santa will get to me first. Santa's getting to me in 3 hours. He's still got 6 hours for you.
How does Santa not get a mask?
Well, apparently he wants to come this way first.
All right. I would love. Just blessed us. But you know what? It's not China. It's not China's fault. It's not Africa's fault. It's our fucking politicians' fault. They dumbass.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's true. Different parts of the world is locked down at different times, so it is the government's fault. I blame the government.
Yeah, so blame all government. I'm just saying. But yeah, you can find me in my apparently anti-government sentiment. I didn't know that was there. But according to
tinfoil hat and everything.
Oh, I gotta show you a fucking promo because there's one of me with one. But yeah, according to what's across the board, I think it's like Adam K wins on fucking Twitter. But you can put
You
in according to
think?
words. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's according to words. You put that in the fucking Twitter machine, and you get this fucking face for radio. And I'm just saying. But go ahead and follow me there. Usually, I'll follow you back if you're not a bot. That's cool. And subscribe to the podcast. I'm doing some cool shit. The two aforementioned Bishop podcasts, and also bodyslam.net, which this very podcast is also being streamed to. So shout out to the bodyslam.net crew, as well as a grappling network crew. So many places you can see this. So go ahead and subscribe to them all. I'm just saying. But if you don't believe me, and I don't know why you wouldn't, well, here's a contemporary of BigFemVader's, Zeta Zang.
Hey, this is Zeta Zane. Make sure you subscribe to